Hello everyone, today we'll be looking at early gameplay of Nascar 21 Ignition released by Motorsports Games. So without further ado, here we go. Okay, first thing I want to point out is that we're on a Charlotte Roval course, as well as I think we're in the Bubba Wallace 23 car right behind his owner Denny Hamlin in 11. Okay, I want to take a better look at Denny Hamlin's car and how his springs sort of react to the curves and how very loose it is. You can see the car bobbing up and down, so I don't know if that's because of the setup or that's how like most of the cars react, but interesting note to take there. As well as the billboard up on the top right here. I don't know if that's always going to be like that, or I remember in NASCAR Heat it was like your camera, so I don't know if that was just because they didn't have anything else to put, but yeah. So yeah, I want to take another look at the springs of Denny Hamlin and also the other cars as well right now. So you can see it gets a little loose here, but here in this corner it's very noticeable. He goes left, right. It's like the car can't get the grip on the road, and you see the Rochas chain kind of getting that a little bumpy, a little not completely on the ground, but I think here he then gets a wheel spin. I think that's what it is. Looks like, yeah, he's bobbing up and down. I think that's wheel spin, hard braking, but yeah, that's something to note. So next thing I want to point out is how Bubba gets loose here. So if you remember that he was actually kind of far back and was able to get close to Denny Hamlin on the chicanes, but you see he's right on his bumper almost, maybe like half a car length behind, and he just loses it right there. So I don't know what happened there. So the other gameplay that I want to look at is from Texas Motor Speedway. Okay, the first thing I want to point out is the HUD. So on your bottom right, you got your RPMs as well as your miles per hour, as well as what gear you're in and your water temperature and oil temperature. Next is the bottom middle, and that's sort of like the subtitles for your spotter, as well as an indication of cars that are near you. Next is the bottom left hand corner, and that's pit options. So no longer when you go to pit do you make your pit options, is now when you're racing, so that's pretty cool, more immersive. The next thing is the top left hand side of your screen, and that's sort of the scoreboard, and it shows you the 3 drivers ahead of you as well as 3 drivers behind you. The next thing to note is in the middle upper part of your screen, and that's sort of telling you there's a caution and that you have to stay behind a certain car, but you don't have any control of the car at this point, so maybe that was a feature that they were going to add, or maybe they'll bring it in soon, so see what happens there. The last thing that I want to point out is on the top right of your screen, and that's pretty much the lap counter as well as your best lap, your last lap, and your current lap. So as we watch this clip, one thing to point out is that we're in the Kyle Busch car, but we're in like 33rd, so probably they had to start in the back because bad qualifying or engine failure. But other than that, the people in the back are here, like Quinn Houff, Timmy Hill, Joey Gaze, Cody Ware, Josh Boyke, and BJ McLeod. So that's, normal, what you'd see in an everyday race. And I just want to stop and point out the formation of the cars as we move forward and see how little they kind of spread out. Even though it's lap one, it seems like it gets even more compressed. Alright, I want to take a second look at that, and it looks like Timmy Hill forgot what the gas pedal was and just did not go and bumped into Kyle Busch there. So it seems like the AI has some points where it would just checks up, so that's one thing to note. Right here you can see that two packs sort of kind of form out, but it seems like that's short-lived because it looks like they catch back up to them. You can also see that the computer AI can also take multiple lanes, right on the bottom as well as sort of in the middle, so that's going to be hard to get past if you're trying to move up the field. And even here it starts to become 3 wide as well, so I want to take a rerun on this. You can see to the right we just passed Timmy Hill and he's on the right side of us, and even still he's able to outrun us on the outside. Mind you that it's Timmy Hill and we're in an 18 Kyle Busch car. Once again, Timmy Hill decides to brake check us, and we go on the outside, and the blue car starts to bob up and down, so I don't know what's going on there.
Stay right. Car low. Still next to you. Clear all around. One left. All right, keep it high.
So next up, the spotter decides he wants to be a rapper, and it starts to rap while we're driving.
Still next to you. Still next to you. Still next to you. Still next to you. All right, hold your line. Still next to you. Still next to you. All right, hold your line. All clear.
Okay, after those lovely bars that the spotter spit, we can see that the entire AI pack in front of us sort of breaks up in 1 and 2, so it seems like this is not just a Timmy Hill situation. It seems like all of the AI does this, so that's an interesting note to take out. So I just want to fast forward a bit to the more interesting part, but just see there we kind of get a little hit, but it's just interesting to see how the AI is running at Texas. And so now I want to slow down and show you, just look how condensed it is, and mind you we're on lap 6, so by this time, like the heat games, we would be kind of spread out, but even now it looks like that pretty much the entire field is all compressed. I didn't see any cars, jump out to a big lead. I'm looking ahead, doesn't look like it. So yeah, it's just interesting to see how compressed the AI is, even with it being somewhat further on in the race. You wouldn't see this much compression, so it looks like that getting through the pack is going to be harder in this game, it looks like. And the only way you can pass these guys is if you run on the top side, which I don't know if that's possible in Texas in this game, or even in real life. I don't know how plausible that is. So yeah, see, look, they're like hugging the bottom, and then there's like another stack of cars that are hugging them, so it's like no way you can really kind of get out of that. I'm just gonna fast forward a bit, and we're gonna come to the end of this gameplay video. So right here you're gonna see that we collided with Daniel Suarez, and just also want to point out how the car hits Daniel, then goes to the right, but then sort of swerves back, so I think he popped a tire, and therefore he spun out of control, or maybe he overcorrected. I don't know if that was the case, but either way, he hits Daniel and then hits the wall and starts spinning out of control. And if you can see there, the leaderboard or scoreboard goes crazy. I thought that was kind of funny. Maybe they need to patch it, because obviously that's really confusing. But anyway, that's really it. That's like the end of the video. So like and subscribe and to see more content. Thank you.